Cross Politic, our midweek fix. I hope you like it. Thanks for joining us on the Fight Laugh Feast Network.
Hope you like
Pastor
it.
Toby, Chuck Knox, I'm the Water Boy.
Just
stop it.
A little bit. Just
stop.
What?
Stop it.
What? What are you doing?
Know that.
What?
Just stop it.
You know there's a rising coronavirus.
All y'all just stop it.
There's a rising coronavirus.
There's an outbreak.
Yeah.
There's an outbreak.
just-
Outbreak in
anointing my
John
hands.
MacArthur's church.
It's like three people?
Of three people.
Three people who got it. That's
it.
That's an outbreak.
That's it. You know, California has the highest COVID count right now, and they have some of the most strictest lockdowns.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
lockdowns because lockdowns don't work.
Because lockdowns.
Well, they're about to give a whole bunch more of them, so.
Yeah.
Hey, we just want to thank you for all the new club members that have come on the last couple months. Thank you guys for supporting us.
Hey.
We appreciate you guys. It's
Serious.
such a blessing. Because of that, we're going to make some big moves this coming year. So as the more support comes in, the more we can do. So please, if you guys haven't followed suit, you can join the club also. We got the newest thing we got in the club portal is all the conference talks that you guys missed if you weren't able to come to
And
conference.
are they
And that was
all spiffed up now?
No, yeah. We got a few more to drop, but most of them are all
Originally,
new audio, new video.
Originally, it was just sort of the live feed that was in there.
Yeah, that was low quality.
But you could get it.
You can get it.
But now we've got like the cuts and all the stuff.
All the swag.
Yep.
All the swag.
And make sure you got a Christmas magazine subscription starting. So next year we're actually starting a magazine
Laugh Feast
for
magazine.
Christmas. Sign your people up. Our first magazine won't ship till about March 1st. We're going to do one every quarter. But, man, all my noises
You're
are just going off over
right
here.
now.
I'm just not doing good.
Does your
here.
computer know we're doing
But
a live
the
show?
thing is, you can get a subscription for yourself and also for like your liberal neighbor down the road. You know, get a Fight Laugh Feast
So
subscription.
anybody who
for-
has a Biden sign in front of their yard, you
So
can
get one
them.
for Trump,
Just
get
drop
one
them
for
off.
Biden.
Or your pastor.
Yeah, or your pastor. So
Special-
have some fun with it. You know, get multiple subscriptions. Get it out
Make
there.
some
It's gonna
cookies for those people
It's going to be a
when you
spicy
do
Fight
that.
Laugh Feast
Especially
magazine.
if your pastor has a Biden sign up.
Yep.
front.
That's right.
Bars.
Maybe you aren't at the right church. Maybe you should leave that church.
I don't know about that.
Buy a subscription and leave the church. There we go.
Lion, dog, face, pony, soldier.
Also, we moved. Dr. Tom Price is starting a class. It was supposed to start this week, but we actually moved it for after the election. Things are just a little crazy, so it's going to start November 5th. So there's still time for you guys to sign up.
Yep.
It's one.
Battle tactics for the baptized.
That's
Next time you
right.
talk to him before you come up with the title.
That's right.
Because that is an amazing
Well, no, he
title.
made up that title. That was him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You need to talk to him.
Okay. Push him a little more.
But really, what's it about?
Yeah.
But no.
Okay.
But,
What's it really?
Really, what's it about?
Maybe
Come on.
interview him a little bit.
The professors just always need a little more encouragement to do a little edgy marketing.
Sign up. Go to
Yeah.
Fight Laugh Feast, FLF
Yep.
Network. Click on Fight Laugh Feast University.
Yes.
Sign up for the class. It's Tuesdays
gonna
and
be so
Thursdays,
good.
1 hour.
Yeah.
You can get the archives. If you miss a class, you can
Yep.
get the recordings. But this is the
And
only
it's
way.
live instruction with other friends of the
That's right.
show
That's
in
right.
there. It's a great time. So
My class went great.
that was
Really?
loud.
Yes.
That was loud.
Yeah. Liberals.
So we were actually going to have Pastor Rob McCoy on the show this morning. That's why actually we were a little late coming into the live stream. Pastor Rob is a pastor out of California at Godspeak Church out of California. He was mayor or city council.
City council.
Was it city council?
Yeah.
But when the whole COVID thing shutdown started and it started targeting churches, and so he actually stepped down so his church could go live without putting his council in a weird position.
Right. It was a bold move.
It was a bold move.
Very
He's like,
bold
I'm going to
move.
step down city council because this is more important. I got to stand over here with my people.
Well,
And they've been meeting.
Yeah, they've been meeting.
They've been open.
Yep.
They've been meeting, and they've been getting into hot water over it.
That's
So
right.
I met him when I was down at the Falkirk Center.
Cool.
God, Louder, Get Your Faith Louder Summit in Florida and everything. So we kind of, I don't know, we aren't friends, but we're building a friendship. I don't know. So Rob was going to come on the show.
Just embrace it, Gabe.
And I know, we're friends. Me and Rob.
My buddy.
Yeah, my buddy Rob. He'll watch this later because he actually sent me an apology.
Wow.
Because
you guys are friends.
last
Because I
night-
wouldn't have sent you nothing.
Last night. So I got proof that we're friends. But the thing is, yesterday he got called out basically on a last minute call to tour, do a bunch of states in about 5 days and everything. So he's actually with Charlie Kirk this morning. And so Charlie, because Rob maybe need to work on his boldness about apologizing to his friends, he had Charlie apologize on his behalf for us.
Appreciate it. Charlie, Cross Politic, Gabriel Wrench. I was supposed to be on his podcast today, but I'm with you. Tell him where we are.
We are here in Bullhead City with a couple thousand of our best friends.
Yeah, look at that.
And the president will soon be here. And we go to rallies every so often, but this is something special. Would you agree, Rob? We've never seen anything like it.
I agree, and Charlie, there's not a lot I do to miss a podcast.
But I take responsibility because I asked Rob to come with me.
Look at Charlie.
I'm speaking, and Rob is always a very comforting, very wise person to have around that just kind of keeps an eye on the landscape. And I could tell you that there's something happening in this country, and I think it's gonna materialize in a way that no one really expects.
I agree. Thanks, Charlie, for blessing Gabriel. Thanks, Gabriel.
God bless.
I ain't gonna lie though. I mean, if he's there with Charlie, I kind of want him there. It's nice to have a pastor there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We'll catch up with Pastor Rob. Pretty
We'll get him on the show.
that's a good look.
So I texted him back and I said, I forgive both y'all. Don't do it. All right. So this past week we had well, actually, it was yesterday, wasn't it? Ted Cruz, and so Jack Dorsey.
This is happening right
Google
now.
is happening right now on Wednesday today. Wow,
this is happening
this
right
how,
now.
This is how we had to redo the news today. It shows, but Twitter, Google, and Facebook are all getting a Zoom meeting.
Yeah,
we all do Zoom meetings now.
It's a congressional hearing.
It's an actual congressional hearing,
right.
And they're going before Congress right now because of all the censoring, and we're back to this debate, publisher versus utility. Right. And so now you got Ted Cruz grilling Jack Dorsey about the censorship, particularly of the New York Post.
Yeah.
Remember the New York Post kind of broke the Hunter Biden laptop story?
Yep.
And
Ted Cruz comes on and says, Mr. Dorsey, I find your opening answers absurd on their face. Let's talk about the last 2 weeks in particular. As you know, I have long been concerned about Twitter's pattern of censoring and silencing individual Americans with whom Twitter disagrees. Cruz said, 2 weeks ago, Twitter made the unilateral decision to censor the New York Post in a series of 2 blockbuster articles, both alleging evidence of corruption against Joe Biden, the first concerning Ukraine, the second concerning communist China.
Ugh.
So it'll be interesting to see this. And remember, the whole deal here is that Twitter and Facebook and other media, these social media platforms, are currently protected under Federal Communications Act
230,
Section 230.
Yep.
That basically says that if you are just a platform, like a phone company, like AT&T, like Verizon,
I don't get censored from
yeah.
AT&T.
I mean,
Verizon.
so far when I'm talking on the phone with Knox and I'm like, I mentioned COVID, it doesn't bleep me out, and my phone, my call doesn't just drop on the spot,
Right,
and I don't get a message saying, remember, this might be false information.
Right.
No, it's just a platform, which means though false information can be spread on it,
Right.
Sure.
but AT&T can't get sued for it.
Right.
Verizon can't get sued for it.
They're not liable for it.
So up to this point, Twitter, Facebook, other YouTube, they've been protected under that from lawsuits.
Yep.
But what Cruz and other people in the Congress are saying is, guys, you're doing some editing. You're acting more like the New York Times. You're acting more like the Washington
publisher,
Post. You're
right.
acting more like Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
You're editing and you're publishing, which means you're making editorial decisions, which means you should be held liable for what actually is on it. So this would not be the government taking over social media. It would be the government getting out, saying no more protections.
Yeah.
And if you allow certain things to be published that are harmful, libelous, and so on, you can get sued.
Yeah.
But this is where, for me, I'm still trying to sort through this conversation because there's a couple factors at play here. One is I don't want the government telling how to private business how to operate. I want the Google to have the freedom to be what they want to be, and I want Twitter to have the freedom to be what they want to be now. But if that means a publisher, then there's certain laws that restrict a publisher, and if they're a platform, then there's certain laws that apply to the platform. But what I don't want is the government coming in and forcing the issue.
Well, the question, I was thinking about this as you were talking, Pastor. Like, if AT&T had the same sort of problems that Facebook has. This is why I don't know if it's all so clean. I'm still thinking about this, trying to work this out. If my phone company, if I was able to have the kind of content that I could get exposed to on the same daily basis that I get from Facebook, then maybe the phone company is trying to figure out how do we protect the individual who is getting hit by those people. We do this when it becomes to robot calls. We do it when it comes to, so I'm trying to figure out here, like, is it fair to say that Facebook or Twitter and those guys are in a somewhat of a different merged category versus just a straight publisher or a platform, publisher, or is some of it merged in one sense or another?
Because they're saying if we have mass reach,
right,
to mass people, that's different than a single phone call.
A single phone call or multiple. Let's say if I get 30 texts a day from people who are trying to give me information, that could become annoying.
Sure.
right? But if I go into a platform that has all this information there and I can just search it out, that's different when I'm, it's a different way of engagement.
Group texts?
Yes, exactly.
Get me off all group text,
and when
please.
you get group text, you're like, I'm done.
Yep.
But that's not how, with the way that their information comes is our friends say, have you seen this? This is so important, blah, blah, blah. It's a different. So I think the way that we're experiencing telephone calls and the way that we're experiencing Facebook are in two different ways where we can both have publishing as well as these two. And so I can see how they feel responsible in one way or another to figure out how to manage it. I don't know if managing is okay. How you manage it, that's one thing. But the standard in which they're choosing to manage it is really, I think, what we're arguing over.
It's clearly slanted.
It's because they don't have a biblical objective of truth and how to judge things. We're seeing that they can't manage it right.
It'll be interesting to see what comes of these hearings. But speaking of social media, helping things along, you guys have been following what's going on in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I have.
I just saw this a minute ago as we were prepping for the show. But
Walter Wallace Jr. was recently shot and killed by the police. Here's the video.
Oh shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! Bro, they just killed them in front of me. Yo!
Man. Oh. Wow. So that gentleman's name was
Walter Wallace Jr.
Walter Wallace Jr.
Yep.
He was holding a knife.
He's coming out after the police with a knife.
Yeah.
And then he's shot. And he's dead now.
He was
died.
killed. Yeah. There's a lot to this. The first thing I did when I saw this, I was like, okay, I see it. It starts off with the police officers out with their guns already. Something else is going on behind here that we don't even know yet.
Something already happened.
Right. Always is. Almost always.
Yeah.
You see a video like this, you gotta say, okay, what
how do we
facts?
even get here, and where do we start
Yeah.
at? Some of what had happened, the family released from their lawyer, kind of saying when they called the police, they already were having an issue with them. First of all, the police had been called many other times dealing with this family or with this situation.
Now, is this gentleman mentally unstable?
Yeah, I think he has a serious case of bipolar disease.
Yeah, okay.
So
they've been called many times.
So it's been called many times. I think even twice on Monday, which is when this took place, I believe. Twice that day. This is their third time out. Okay. And when the police said when the family said they called the police, they called for an ambulance or somebody to help with the
medical side
of what was going on.
He needs to be restrained and need some medicine or something.
And so when they weren't expecting police officers to actually show up, so that wasn't the outcome, which is why I believe that's his mother. You see her throw her shoe or throw something at the officer after they relinquished their I think it was, I've heard 11 to 13 bullets that they fired.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is, there's so much, so there's a whole lot of ways that I think about this. If just thinking about my wife, when I communicate to her and I teach her how to handle a firearm and what situations she can and can't use a gun. If anybody is ever barreling towards my wife with a knife, threatening to shoot her, threatening to stab her or to harm her, I've communicated to her, honey, that is a moment where you should be afraid for your life, especially within the 25-foot limit, although that's kind of, some would say that's arbitrary, right? But they're coming at you. Stop the threat.
Right.
Shoot them. Right. And however you can. That situation is a little different. And I would have.
When you know nothing. When it's a brand new, know nothing, and somebody just starts barreling towards you with a weapon.
Or we're fighting or whatever, and the dude brings out a weapon and starts coming at me like, okay, you just escalated the situation. Now I'm afraid
these
for my
officers
life.
know this house.
So they
know the family and they know the individual.
They know if some sort of situation that had gone on there prior that day. And so when they came to the situation, they knew of something that was going on. I think that's even maybe the reason why they sent the officers instead of the ambulance. Who knows where that story is yet.
Or they just got there first.
Or they got there first or whatever.
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, and we haven't seen it yet, so we don't know. Did they try mace? Did they try taser? We got 2 officers there and there were more coming. Is there some sort of way that they could have demobilized him before they decided to use lethal threat?
Can they tackle him?
I'm a little hesitant on that because someone who's having a psychological episode can be
Very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Well,
and even harder to restrain.
And to be clear, we're just asking the question. We don't know enough yet. But
okay,
it's just,
and I have a friend who his brother is mentally ill. He's a big dude. He's like 6'3", and he's like 245 pounds, and he's solid.
Yep.
Okay, and he's not there. Yep. But you can talk to him, and he looks like he's there, and he can have an episode. Actually, he has had an episode where he body slammed his own brother. You know, he could be violent in times, and he's not there.
Right.
And so if he goes on and do something, they call the police, or a neighbor calls the police, and they show up, and he's having a moment. I don't want them to be the first thing they use is a gun.
Right.
You know, this in some sense is kind of close to me because I don't want that to be.
But the guy is brandishing a weapon that could kill you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? If that was the case with my wife in a situation, I would say again.
Right, because your wife is the weaker person in that situation.
And we're not saying there's no situation, no circumstances under which a man brandishing a knife shouldn't get shot.
No, of course not.
We recognize that sometimes that's the case, but we're just saying there's kind of a lot of backstory here. And
I have seen videos of police officers run backwards for 2 blocks.
Yeah.
Trying to avoid a man
shooting the person
who was chasing him. He got to the middle of the street where he could not, and it was dangerous for him. Right. And to that point, he did not shoot the man, and then he fired. And actually, he still got stabbed by the guy. After he fired 6 shots. Yeah. So he's trying his very best. And so it's still dangerous.
Right. Well, this has created the riots in Philadelphia over the last couple of nights.
This is
unbelievable. That's Walmart.
Oh, that's a Walmart.
That's a Walmart. I mean,
and how is that helping?
Well, this is the thing. I can't condemn anybody in this situation yet.
I can condemn them.
I condemn them. Right.
Yeah, right.
That's what I'm trying to ask. Right. How is it they have so much information that they find it just to run inside of a Walmart and steal things that are not theirs? Right. What has come out? What ruling has happened in the courts?
But even if the ruling comes out, it's unjust.
Sure.
Walmart did not shoot anybody.
No, absolutely.
The employees of Walmart did not shoot anybody. Walmart did not train any police officers.
That's right.
Walmart did not send any police officers
with the situation.
Walmart has nothing to do with the situation. This is just injustice.
Just raw injustice.
I watched a guy take out a wash machine and roll it. And while Fox News was doing an interview with one of their hosts, roll it across the screen and just look like, what are y'all doing over there? And I'm thinking, what are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing?
Right.
Wow.
It's just I don't get it. But like you're saying, I'm waiting to see what happens, and I want all of this information before we can say one way or another.
We need more information. But all of this. I mean, if 2020 has not taught us something yet, it ought to be that there is deep rot.
Yeah, that's right.
In our country.
Right.
Absolutely.
And when God shakes things, which is what he's been doing this year, he reveals just how rotten everything is, because everything is just falling over.
It is.
And that includes our law enforcement.
Yeah.
And it includes those who
are those laws.
And those people who are making laws. I mean, add to this kind of stuff, the COVID lockdowns are back on a surge. I mean, you've got cases surging, you have death rates plummeting. And you have lockdowns surging.
Right.
Wait, what? De Blasio in New York City? What did he say?
He's told people that they should rethink leaving New York City for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, for the holidays.
Basically urged them
not to. And basically said they're going to be quarantined for 14 days. And
you guys see the video of the cops,
the Jewish community
coming in, breaking into the house of the Jews?
That was ridiculous. There was I reported this on
Monday's
pathetic news. There was a police called because there was a outside parking
violation or something.
And so the police officer is outside. Now guys, this drives me nuts. Police officer sees the parking violation, and when he says he looks up, and all of a sudden he noticed there were more than 10 people in the house. And rather than mind his own business,
none of your business,
he goes up to the house and barges in the man's house so that he can either cite, arrest, or remove the other people that are there in another man's house.
Do we know what happened with that?
I didn't
because
know.
the video clip I found was just them in the doorway.
Yeah,
and the Jewish men are sitting there saying, "What are you doing here?"
Yes.
And he's like, "Well, you're violating." Blah, blah, blah,
Get
blah.
out of my face first because you don't have a mask on.
Yeah, right.
That was the first thing. He was
But
like,
then it cuts, and I don't know what I sort of wonder what happened. But you've got that. You've got California. Newsom is like, what is his limits on Thanksgiving?
3 families.
So you can have more people at a funeral than you can have at Thanksgiving dinner. So everyone's turning their Thanksgivings into a funeral for the turkey. Which is great. But you also
California, you better.
California now has the highest cases, about 1 million cases so far of the COVID.
Yeah.
And they're
the
one
most
of the most
draconian lockdowns.
Lockdowns don't work.
Right.
We did a show.
I'm sorry,
Remember, we did a show
What'd you say?
like 4 months ago where we just constantly repeated lockdowns don't work.
Right. The states with the most draconian lockdowns and mask mandates have the spikes.
Highest case.
Like, it's not working.
Yep.
So one of the things that people were asking about was it Newsom's in California, right? So one of the things people were asking were like, how are you going? This is an unenforceable law or mandate, and I was trying to tell them like, you better stop.
Yeah, don't bring it up.
They are going to figure out how to enforce that.
Right, they're going to start breaking into your house and counting heads.
How many cars are here? How many people can actually? We just got a neighbor. Well, it's not just they're going to figure out. People are going to call on you guys.
You remember the mayor of Nashville deputized like city employees to enforce COVID shutdown stuff. So city employees were allowed to write tickets, not just cops.
Even we're not quite as bad in Idaho, but even our governor just went back to stage 3.
Yeah.
And Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, just an hour north of here, just went back. They had a mask like recommendation for a long time,
right?
And now they just voted to actually have a mask mandate.
Was it the city council or was it the health district?
I think it's.
Because the
that
health
was
district,
the city council.
City council
was 4-2 vote, and the city council voted to
the health
mandate
district's
the mask.
recommendation.
But wow, that's going to tick off the Northerners up there.
At least though they had a city council board that was split,
and at least they had 2 people voting against it.
Right.
Yep. We could use that in Moscow.
Yep.
But here's the thing, people don't miss the fact that what you're seeing in Philly, what you're seeing with cops and enforcement, you can't disconnect that from the COVID lockdowns.
Right. And what our legislators are trying to do legally.
Well, the same thing that happened with George Floyd. You're preaching on that, right?
Yep.
We saw that we saw the government kneeling on a man's neck.
You can't have the government doing that in one context.
That's right.
And then making laws over here about how many people you can have over for dinner.
Yep.
Or whether you have to wear a mask or not, or how many people you can have in your business or your church.
Right.
And you say, who enforces that?
Right.
The same cops.
That's right.
The same
That's
law
right.
enforcement. Yep. And we have to recognize that there's the problems here.
So I've been thinking about this this past week. You know, you look back at the history of kind of the Republicans versus Democrats kind of thing, and the Republicans for the longest time have been wanting to try to keep the peace, do consensus, work consensus, and for decades.
It sounds like a good thing.
It sounds like a good thing, but what's been happening is the Democrats are like, okay, we'll play that game, and they just keep pushing and maneuvering Republicans every 10 years to get another victory. So you look at the football field, the Democrats are just going this way and gaining all this yardage, and Republicans constantly lose yardage, but they're the nice guys.
Right.
They're trying to build consensus, and then we get LGBT.
Right. Yeah, more often you have it's not universal, but I think more often those on the conservative side have more of a moral backbone.
Yep.
And so they're less they do lie, they do cheat, but they have more inclination to not lie and not cheat.
Right.
And on the other side they don't.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they have something to be pulled by. Conservatives and Republicans at least have something to be pulled by.
At least they give lip service to a standard.
Yeah.
But then you're right. They lose.
And we get Obamacare, and then we get gay marriage, and now we're getting transgender bathrooms throughout the U.S.
Right.
And that's because the Republicans haven't been fighters.
And I think
then Trump comes along.
It's more than that, though.
Okay.
It's not only have they not been fighters, but they've not been fighters, and they also haven't had real biblical standards.
Yeah. Right.
So the reason why they haven't had something to fight for is because ultimately Republicans have basically had man-made standards.
That's exactly right.
Okay?
Yep.
And so man-made standards, even if you appeal to God and country and constitution, can still bend.
That's right.
Because where'd you get that standard from?
And we don't want to repeat Republicanism 2.0.
That's exactly right.
We don't want this.
Right.
We don't want to all just rally around Trump.
Right. We need to rally around Jesus.
That's exactly
and the Bible.
Right. That's exactly right. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm kind of seeing like this Republicanism 2.0 where everyone's like, can't you just agree on Trump?
Here's the thing. Knox, you shared this thing with me a few days ago that just made me mad.
What did I do?
I mean, in a righteous sort of way.
I was holding the Blasio stuff. That's why I was on
Yeah, you can. You sent me this link. I'm talking about the anti-mask leagues of 1919.
Yeah. So
the Spanish flu,
Yeah.
1918, 1919. They had mask mandates back in the day,
and they had the science then that said that masks don't work.
Masks don't work, and you've got pictures and videos of people getting hauled off by the police.
We should share that. It's on Instagram. I have it there.
Just like what's going on here.
Nothing new.
But the thing that made me upset is we've been here before,
and we didn't fix it.
And we didn't fix it.
Yeah.
But this goes to your point, Gabe. This goes to your point. Right. I think we've been here before on piles of this stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Of police reform, of standards of justice, of whose business is this? Is this a family jurisdiction? Is this church jurisdiction? Is this state jurisdiction? We've been here before. We've been here before, and we haven't fixed it.
Yeah.
We've compromised in the name of being nice or being coalition builders or whatever, but we haven't gone back and said, what does God require?
And the public school has disconnected that education process because all the public school can really teach about is civics. It can't teach about the family. It can't teach about the church. It can't disciple these things.
But even there, it's not. No,
it's not. I agree with you. But I'm saying is they can't teach about the family because they believe in LGBT families. They believe in all that stuff. You can't teach about the church because no religion in school. You can't disciple well from the public schools. Yep. They're bound by their own restrictions and all this. Of course, we disagree. With
we have to lay this though at the foot of the church. Right. I mean, at the bottom line, this is where
the church has not discipled his people and said God has something to say
about all of this.
About all of this.
That's right.
You know, there is Jonathan Lehman and Mark Dever and one other professor. They did a whole show against us without naming us, which is kind of like a wuss move. I don't know why.
It was.
So I want to talk about detail another time. I want to talk to Uncle Gary about it in detail another time. But
I want to talk to Jonathan Lehman.
I would. Hey, Jonathan, if you want to come back on,
I can text him.
Yeah, see if he wants to come.
He was texting me.
Yeah.
Ask him if he'll come back. I love him for to come back.
See if he wants to come back. Yeah. But here's the deal. When you create an arbitrary standard for law, then all of this is up for grabs.
Right.
If you don't come to it with what does God say and how do we apply what God says to the situation, and instead what they end up doing in that whole show was create arbitrary, guys, we don't even know if we have answers for this.
Right.
Whenever that's where the church is going to be at, then what happens in Philadelphia, what happens at Walmart, what happens at the state, what happens at COVID shutdowns.
We don't know.
All of a sudden it opens up and nobody has anything to say about it.
Here's another example of this of all this situation we need biblical justice applied to is police can lie to you.
Not new information for me.
Police, no. Let me tell you something. Police can lie to you.
Yes, they can.
It's legal for them to lie to you all the way up into the point of arrest. They can lie to you.
Yeah.
They can lie their heads off.
Yeah.
They can make stuff up
because they're doing it in the name of trying to get at justice, trying to get at the truth,
trying to catch you. If they think
so, they're Muslims.
If they think we have a Muslim police force, I mean, I'm sure there are good officers.
I know a lot of them
who don't do that.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something before you finish.
I'm sure there are good officers out there that don't do that, but it's legal for them to lie.
Yeah.
They can lie. They can say you were going 80 when they didn't catch you on the radar gun.
Yeah.
They can say that you had a light out. They can say that that somebody called and reported you.
Right.
And if you say, "Can we come in?" and you say, "Oh, okay," and you let them in. All they need is permission that you could come in.
Right.
They can lie, and everybody instinctively knows this because you've seen the television show.
Right.
Where the detectives bring somebody in and then they start lying to them.
Yeah. Your buddy already told us all this stuff going on in the other room.
We know you did it.
Yep.
We know your buddy already caved. He already, your mom, something bad's going to happen to your mom or your kids or whatever. Yep. Just tell us that, they're lying. And we justify it and say, well, because they're bad guys.
Right. But that's not a tactic they're just using on bad guys anymore.
That's the thing. That's the thing. If it's legal to lie, for them to lie, for law-abiding citizens.
Yeah.
We got this situation now where it's like it's a misdemeanor if you're not wearing your mask.
Right.
It's against the law if you have more than 50 people in your church.
Right.
Or more than 25% capacity in your business or whatever it is. It's like, guys, what kind of situation have we created?
Yeah, this has been interesting for me because just in the last, I've met since I've been older, A lot of great, and I'm not talking about good, I mean great police officers. Did a movie with one. We had our friend, J-Dub on, Johnny Walker. He came on the show. Johnny Walker is a phenomenal man. Let me tell you something. I mean, I don't know many guys like that, let alone officers. And then, I know a bunch of them. But those are the few that I've met. And most of the time, I'm in a place where I see my friends who are used to police officers protecting them. That hasn't been my experience.
Right.
So when I see COVID and the whole thing happening, I'm like, not looking to a friend to expect them to protect me. I'm looking and wondering, oh no, how do I get out of this?
Right.
And around them.
Right.
Because I've been here before and I'm seeing this and the way this is moving, I'm trying to figure out how do I stand so my kids don't grow up the way that I did with police officers and still have an honoring view of them, but they're not helping me right now. They're not helping me right now. And so I can't say this enough. We need to be praying for the godly men because if pastors are compromising when it comes to opening up their church, how much more the godly men that are inside the police force are having to deal with the compromise in a serious way at that level.
If we're willing to lie about the mortality rate of this virus, we're willing to lie about the effectiveness of masks. And the
which is what they're doing. Our own governor and his
chief of staff
medical was officer saying that asymptomatic cases are spreading this.
Right. Which means
there's no evidence for that at all.
No, at the very least, we don't know.
But you have to rile everybody up to be able to get your way with what you're doing with the law. If you don't have people scared of the virus, then no one's going to go along with the laws that the lockdown that you're mandating.
Exactly. But there's lies everywhere. There's lies in the church. The pastors have not been speaking the truth. And when a pastor stands up in the pulpit and does not proclaim the whole word of God, the whole counsel of God, he is effectively lying. Your job was to tell them the truth. Your job was to tell them all of Scripture, the whole gospel. You were telling Genesis to Revelation, not hold anything back. And when you hold back, you're lying.
That's right.
And there are warnings about those who have been given the word of God and they don't tell the whole counsel of God.
That's right.
Blood's on your hands.
There's also warning for cowards too.
That's right. And so here we are. And so of course our city councils, our police officers, they don't know what God says.
Right.
Some of them are trying. Some of them are trying really hard.
That's why we need to be praying for. And we need to stand up too. Just be normal. Stand up, be normal, trust God. Go to church.
Take off your mask.
Anything else?
Open your business.
Open your business. Yeah.
If you're single, get married.
If you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids. If you have kids, go baptize them. Until Sunday, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politics.
Great Sunday special coming.